morning, y'all. This is Marianne from the Rockin' RV Adventures. I got a good video for you today. And the video is about how to enjoy your RV. 10 lessons we learned on the road. So I took notes, so I didn't miss anything. So you'll have to bear with me as I look at my notes. So number 1, maintenance. Never neglect, never delay. Your safety and peace of mind depend on careful inspection of your RV. Follow a consistent maintenance schedule. Make repairs as soon as possible. Oh, there's Sammy walking across the couch. Silly dog. Number 2, plan your travel. Study your maps and guidebooks well in advance of your departure. Make reservations as soon as possible, especially to popular destinations or during peak periods. Include an alternate route to avoid construction delays. There's nothing more miserable than sitting in construction delays on the highway. Review the GPS to make sure it agrees with your route chosen. We've found that GPS will change our route for us. I guess it knows better than we do. And number 3, always have a plan B. When stuff happens, and it will, be ready to change course. We've had a couple of times where we couldn't go the route we wanted to go, construction delays, some major upsets in cities, so we avoided the area and changed our route. Having a strenuous discussion with your partner over a map by the side of the highway is a bad idea. You want to have this all thought out beforehand, so always have a plan B. Watch the weather. Number 4, watch the weather. Your life may depend on it. Consider the seasonal climate as well as the weather. When possible, avoid areas of the country noted for extreme seasonal weather. So when you're making your trip planning, take into consideration the time of year, the areas that have hurricanes and tornadoes. So always keep that into consideration. Thank you, Sam. I don't need your butt sitting on my head. He's so helpful. Invest in a weather radio. Study the extended forecast. If thunderstorms, there's Trini knocking my arm. If thunderstorms or strong winds are forecast, if possible, stay put. You don't want to be traveling with a forecast of high winds or thunderstorms. Your schedule, built into your schedule that it's not imperative that you leave to get to point A, point B. You don't want to take a chance. It's just not worth being out on the roads in bad weather. You can always talk to the locals. We've had one campground owner who said, we've got a bad thunderstorm coming in. It would be better for you to stay another night. And we did. And it was torrential rains. And it's a good thing we weren't driving in it. Use good judgment. If the weather looks bad, stay put. Never allow the schedule to take control of your decisions. Sam, give me some room. Silly dog. 5, create a checklist and follow it. Create a departure and arrival checklist. Every task that needs to be completed, as well as who does it, unless you're traveling alone, in which case you do it all. Don't allow departure to become hectic and stressful. Arriving at your destination often finds you tired from a long day on the road. Don't make either situation worse by taking shortcuts. That's when accidents happen. Slow down. Avoid the feeling that you're a member of the pit crew. Don't rush around like crazy, because again, that's when you make mistakes, and you don't want to make a mistake when you're hooking up or unhooking. Without being rude, suggest to friends and neighbors that you'll be delighted to visit as soon as setup or takedown is complete. Check your ego. We all make mistakes. It is the responsibility of your traveling companion to catch them when you don't. So I check Mike on the outside. He checks me on the stuff I do on the inside. It's just better to double check. 4 eyes are better than 2 when you go around and check to make sure your compartments are locked. So trailer hooked up properly. Are your cabinets all closed? Whatever you put up as your checklist. I will be making a checklist that we use. Number 6, take frequent breaks. We aren't kids anymore. Mike and I are 61, so we do take a lot of breaks on the road. We identify the rest areas on our next exit book, and we usually go about I'm going to say an hour and a half to 2 hours, and we stop, we walk us, and we walk the fur babies. We walk around the RV and check everything. We get a snack, we use the restroom. We try to stop about every 100 miles or so, around 2 hours. We found that works best for us and the fur babies. And there's something to be said about using your own bathroom, because you know who's been sitting on it, if you know what I mean. Sitting for prolonged intervals is not healthy and can result in fatigue, poor judgment making, and reaction time. Not to mention, it's a guarantee to make you cranky with your traveling partner. So get out of your RV, walk around, get a little exercise, get something to eat. Take the opportunity to walk around your RV, inspect the tires, check temperatures of the tires and brakes to ensure even braking with a thermal gun. Mike checks the temperature on the tires when we stop every time. And then he raises the hood, inspects the engine compartment, looks for leaks, inspect the pavement and ground when we pull into a rest area to see if there's anything on the ground when we pull in, so we make sure it's not coming from our RV. So it's real important that you keep up on all your maintenance as well. Check your living space to make sure any items have shifted. I go in the RV and I take a quick look around and make sure everything's riding okay. And finally, perform the 1, 2, 3 on the door. The last one out of the RV does the 1, 2, 3 when we're getting ready to pull out of a rest area. The 1, 2, 3 is you close the door, you lock the door. Number 2 is you put the handle across. Number 3, you put the steps up. 1, 2, 3, and we do it that way every time. And then we have number 7. Remember Brad's rule. When we first began our adventure and have long since stopped speaking to each other, 11 hours on the road the first day, a man who later became a great friend named Brad gave us the following rule. Never go more than 300 miles in a day and never go past 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and you two will stay married. Well, we follow Brad's rule for that reason. Brad's rule ensures that you never feel pressured. You always arrive before dark to set up, because when you see people pulling in after dark, they can't see, the visibility's not great. They're usually frustrated with each other. By then they're screaming at each other and accidents happen. So we always get to our campsite well before dark. We can have a leisurely dinner, enjoy some downtime, and then we'll be well rested for the next day. Number 8, get to know your neighbors. Mike and I always make it a point to strike up a conversation with our fellow campers. That's especially true if we're staying more than one night. It's a good idea to get acquainted with the neighbors. I wouldn't suggest knocking on their door at mealtime, but if you happen to see them outside, take the opportunity to say hello. Not everyone will be welcoming, and some may be downright creepy. We've had a few of those. In which case, just keep it short. We have made so many amazing friendships just by taking a moment and being gracious. We were in South Dakota, and we were throwing our trash away, and we met the nicest couple, Kathy and Craig, at the dumpster, and they turned into wonderful friends. So you never know who you're going to meet. It's, if you meet friends, make friends at people with the dumpster, at the dumpster, it's a good thing. So sometimes when we're at a campground, Mike and I will stand in front of the dumpster and take a picture and send it to Kathy and Craig and say, wish you were here. So you got to have some fun with it. So there's also a benefit of having someone next door who will keep an eye on your site when you're away. I will offer one more word of caution. There are times when the welcome mat that has been interpreted as an adoption certificate. There are people who won't recognize boundaries or personal space. They may choose an hour or occasion to invite themselves into your site or appear magically every time you emerge from your rig. That's kind of creepy. Permanent campground dwellers will often appear at meal times or will volunteer you as a surrogate parent or grandparent. They don't watch their grandkids so much, and sometimes they may want to enlist your help to watch the grandkids so they can do X or whatever. No, I have my own grandkids. I have 9 of them, and while I will keep an eye out for your kids when I see them playing to make sure they're safe and the grandkids, I'm not their babysitter. Number 9, in an RV, everyone can hear you scream. So people accustomed to a regular stick and brick house are often unaware how thin the walls are in an RV and how close together they are parked. Be aware that if you raise your voice, there's a good chance you will be heard. And that's also true of your stereo, TV, your kids, or your pets. And that's really true. If you and your companion feel the need to resolve a domestic dispute or appeal to the mighty almighty in a moment of ecstasy, bear in mind the neighbors are apt to hear you. It's an uncomfortable situation if you're sitting outside having lunch and the neighbors are getting jiggy. And that happened to some friends of ours. And they promptly lost their appetite and threw their lunch away. So just be aware that the walls are really thin and you can hear what's going on inside somebody else's RV. Be respectful of the fact that not everyone enjoys your music as much as you. Just because it's not the quiet hour doesn't mean you can't show some courtesy and turn down the volume. We try to be really respectful, of our neighbors. Not so much that we play music, but I do have dogs. So if we're going to go somewhere and we leave the dogs behind, besides having the cameras up and running so I can hear and listen, I put a radio on or the TV on. And if I have one that's a barker, which I do, the one sitting behind me, he will get a bark collar put on. Because we try to be aware, to keep it quiet for our neighbors. They don't want to listen to my barking dogs. Most people love children, but if you want to hear your children or grandchildren screaming next to your RV, if they scream next to my RV, it's going to upset my dogs and they will bark. So then my dogs get punished for only being a dog because kids are close and they'll run through your sight. So kids are kids, but still it makes it a little bit uncomfortable. And number 10, be kind. Be kind always. Practice the golden rule. Go the extra mile to leave it better than you found it. Strive to be as gracious as people will permit you to be. I cannot count the number of times it's only made me feel good, but help brighten someone's day by being kind, a smile. So we always try to leave it better than we found it. We always try to make somebody's day by wishing them to have a blessed day. Just be kind, because there's not enough kindness sometimes in the world, and the news and the TV have all negative stuff, but there's still positives out there. So just remember, be kind. And as always, if you like our videos, please like and subscribe and share. Help us grow our YouTube channel. And if you have any comments or something that you would like to add, I would love to hear your thoughts. And as always, make it a great day and God bless. And we'll see you on the next go round.